The three issues that got me into this, which is the censorship, the Ukraine war, ending the Ukraine war as quickly as possible, and then solving the chronic disease epidemic, which is absolutely destroying our country. And on all those issues, he said that he was absolutely committed to ending censorship, ending the war, and ending the chronic disease epidemic.
Were you surprised that he kind of stood with you and even was informed about some of those issues before you actually got to meet and talk to him?
Well, I knew he's had his own problem with censorship, and I've litigated on the issue, but he's widely censored, the same as I am. And he's been vocal about Ukraine. President Trump is somebody who'd rather make a deal than have a war, which I think is a good. My uncle, when he was asked by my Uncle John F. Kennedy, was asked by his best friend, one of his two best friends, Ben Bradley, who was then the editor of the Washington Post, "What do you want on your gravestone as your epitaph?" And my uncle said he kept the peace. He didn't skip a deep beat. He said the primary job of a president of the United States is to keep the country out of war. He said he didn't want kids in Africa and Asia and Latin America, when they heard the name United States of America, to think about a man in a military uniform with a gun. He wanted to think of a Peace Corps volunteer. He wanted them to think of the Alliance for Progress program, the USAID, which my uncle had started both those programs to give aid directly to the poor, to create institutions for democracy, to create institutions to build a middle class in these countries, rather than giving them to military dictators and to the oligarchs in those countries, which was U.S. policy up to that point, and to become really an instrument for moral authority around the world. And, my uncle never sent a combat soldier abroad. And today, as a result of those commitments, there are more statues to John Kennedy honoring him, more parks named after him, more universities, more hospitals in Africa, in Latin America, and Asia than probably every other president combined.
Wow.
And that is a foreign policy that works. It's a foreign policy that fortifies our moral authority around the globe.